Welcome to the Able Podcast. I am your host, Courtney, and today I am so excited about our guest. He is someone that I have known in my childhood, and it's really cool that we have reconnected. His name is Mitch. He is a chef and the creator of Dead Chefs Social Club. So I'm so excited to have you here with us, Mitch.
Yes, thank you, Courtney. I'm again excited as much to be here and excited to see you get the ball rolling with your podcast and excited to talk about this, as well as I'm invested in seeing where your stuff goes. So, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, if you don't mind just kicking it off and giving a little background about yourself for the listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 31 years old. As she said, my name is Mitch. I'm a chef currently, born in Chicago, raised in Geneva for most of my childhood, where I met Courtney at Catholic school. Currently living in Aurora. I love all things food and music. Pretty much anything involving those two things, you can find me there. I love the outdoors, traveling, new places, adventuring, meeting people, music festivals, just sharing good times, getting together with good people.
Yeah, totally. Actually, as a sidebar, I had seen something you had posted about Dead Chefs Social Club, which I'm really excited to get into. But you posted about it and I was like, oh my God, that is so cool. And I know that you love 311. And I had gotten into the car literally like 20 minutes after I had seen you post about this. And a 311 song came on the radio. And I was like, okay, I have to ask Mitch to be on the podcast.
Yeah, it's I think the name of the game here is synchronicity. That might as well be the name of this episode. But yeah, it's kind of cool how that works. And I've always kept my eyes out for those little nuances in life. And I don't believe that there really are any true coincidences and things like that. So I love that. That's perfect.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you about that. But yeah, I was like, he definitely needs to come on now.
So I'm glad you shared it to now. It's a good surprise. That's a fun one. And I didn't plan on 311 being a part of this story, but they're definitely them and the fan base are a huge part of where I am and who I am. So in case we don't get into that anymore, but shout out to those people, they know who they are.
That's awesome. Music is so healing too.
Oh, I know. It's since a young age. It's been, since 8th grade, 7th grade, when I kind of, started getting into the rebellious phase of life and found some powerful music and found that it can really, really change the shape of your soul and put you in the right direction when it's not going in the right one. So I've always held on to that for sure. And it's still as big of a part of my life as ever. So
totally. So tell us a little bit how you got into like food and becoming a chef.
It's been a long, weird road. Growing up, I was always, a sports obsessed kid, was multi-sport athlete and, wanted to be an NBA or NFL, MLB star, of course, as most kids did. Cooking always just became a hobby. Me and my buddy Robbie in middle school, we would just mess around in the kitchen when my mom wasn't home and just do stupid stuff. And it would be like, oh my God, that tastes really good. And we did something really stupid to it. So it kind of just grew as a passion, as a side thing that I love to grill out and do that in the summertime. And I never really saw it as a career path. Growing up, you think, oh, white chef, white coat chef and all that kind of thing. I'm like, that's not for me. I'm not that talented, whatever. And then I guess kind of the emergence of the Food Network is what really led me onto it, because you're seeing just these everyday people just going out and doing it. And even then I had my reservations for a long time, and more or less 10 years later down the road in the service industry, here we are. And so it's been a ever growing thing, from becoming not a reality to a job that pays the bills, to a job that's fun that I love, to a job that makes me want to crawl into a ball and not talk to one anymore, and then re-inspired me to, kind of take that leap into being my own boss and just taking my own shot at it and not needing any more confidence than I already have in what I've done. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, and this is kind of like the beginning, but also the combination of the culmination of a lot of moments and trials and tribulations. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say, but it's like I said, I've always loved music. I was in bands at a young age, and it just ticks that same mental bug for me, the creative flow, just the feeling of being able to take something from an idea on a piece of paper to ingredients to being cooked to people. It's a moment, it's a process, and I love every bit of it. So
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of,
Totally.
the base of it.
And just like I feel like me as well, for so long, I've only thought of food as fuel.
Yeah,
And recently, like I just have gotten so into cooking and it's just so much more of like a joy.
that's also something too, is, like I'd go and cook for 10 to 12 hours a day. And the last thing I want to do when I get home is cook. So I
Mm-hmm.
know dino nuggets and mac and cheese it is, like I'm definitely every bit of that person too.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of getting away from the grind, I understand that being a business owner is not any less of a grind, but it kind of gives you more time for
Mm-hmm.
you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I miss that. I miss the at home, making a mess, cleaning it up, creating something cool. So that's definitely something that's pushed me back into this. It's just it's fuel. It's not only for your stomach and your brain, but your soul.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Yeah, that's great. Are there any pivotal experience that happened within your career that made you just want to go off on your own?
Yeah, I mean, kind of brushed on it before, but pretty much I won't name any names just because I got love for all of them in their own ways. But I've bounced around to, a ton of restaurants in the western suburbs, and in a lot of places I've felt that I've, at my own internal capacity, reached the ceiling
Mm-hmm.
for that moment. And time is fleeting. Unfortunately, dealt with a lot of death in my young life, and friends, family alike. So time has always felt really fleeting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the older I get, the more that kind of increases. So the more time I've spent kind of working under other people, as much as I've appreciated it and valued it, and it's shaped me, I feel like I couldn't waste any more time doing that. And
Yeah.
when I accept a job somewhere, like I'm investing myself in that place. It's never
Mm-hmm.
just like a show up and quit in a few weeks and move on to the next one. Like I feel I need to immerse myself, and
Mm-hmm.
um, so it's a commitment. And I felt I'm getting to that point where I just need to commit to myself. Like I said, as much as learning from other people has helped me, because I never went to culinary school, so
Mm-hmm.
that's been huge. But it also, like I said, it's a commitment, and I want to get to the point where I'm making my own dreams come true and not others. Not that others' dreams shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
coming true. It's just, I've always been a put others before myself kind of person. So yeah, I'm trying to unlearn that quality and just jump into it and do this for me, because not only do I deserve it, but I think I can bring some cool stuff to the world. So,
That's amazing. I
um,
think you can too. Tell us about what you're doing.
so as you said, it's Dead Chef Social Club. I've milled around with the name for a while, and it kind of was inspired by a number of things. Anthony Bourdain was and is a huge inspiration for me, and his passing away was really tough on the community as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
He did a whole lot for the culinary community and just the world in general. That was kind of the start of it, and then one of my previous jobs at a restaurant that I had started and created the menu for turned into such a grind that I always just joked, because our kitchen was like a little closet in the back that no one could see us or hear us. Or
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they could hear us sometimes, but we're just tucked away. And I always made the joke that, like, I would feel like I just got my ass beat for 6 hours, punched in the face over and over, and then I'd go out into the dining room, I'm like, wow, it smells fucking awesome out here. Like, it smells great. It's loud, everyone's happy, plates are clinking, glasses are clinking, and it's like a chorus of I just did the good things.
Mhm.
And I'm like, wow, I was expecting to come out to a nuclear war site, and so it's kind of, I was always making the joke, like someone's going to leave a review one day, like, oh, the food was great, everything was awesome, the chef was dead, but it was perfect.
Yeah.
um, so that kind of inspired it. And then I've always just been a lover of Grateful Dead music, so it all just kind of piled into me being burnt out from the industry, and
Hmm.
um, a bunch of other things that have inspired me. So yeah, it's a powerful name, and I want to really highlight mental health awareness in a lot of my ventures. I got to get the ball rolling on some merch and stuff, and I got some big plans for that. Like quirky, funny images for not only kitchenware for chefs, but also just food fans and people like that. But I want pieces of those lines and also bits of my menus to be directly benefiting mental health funds and addiction initiatives and things like that. That's also been a huge thing for me, is I know there's so many other people out there that are not in the industry, or just dragging it along because it's all they know how to do, or this or that. And whether it's led to addiction or anxiety or depression or all the above, I know
Hmm.
that they're out there, and those people need help,
Yeah.
and they need advocates. And I feel like I suffer from all those things, so I've always wanted to make that a part of what I do. Create a safe space for people to also come and join me, and
Hmm.
create and have fun and just do what they miss doing, and not feel burnt out or get mistreated or underpaid,
Hmm.
because all those things happen every day all over the place across America in every restaurant. And it sucks. Restaurant workers are widely underpaid, underappreciated. So that's also a reason I wanted to get out and get on my own and have an opportunity to really make a name for myself, but also actually pay the bills.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot behind this project. I'm really excited to get it all going. On my Instagram, there's currently a just an ongoing donation for Mental Health America.
Hmm.
They're a great foundation. They're all over the country, and they're tried and true, and they do some good stuff. And like I said, there's going to be some other things that I dive into, as far as initiatives and addiction centers and things like that. If this turns into a traveling thing, which I hope it does, I want to hit the road and do music festivals and things like that. I want to
That's
affect
amazing.
local communities wherever we take it, because I know it's not just here, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Chicago's only one of many massive markets, and even lower than that, there's just mental health and homelessness and that kind of stuff everywhere. And I know I might not change the world, but all we can do is try.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's really cool what you're doing is bringing such a light to the environment in the food industry, which I think is amazing because, like you said, I honestly had only ever heard of that culture and that environment until I had heard about the Anthony Bourdain books, which I found fascinating. And it's really cool that you're like bringing a light to that. Yeah. Kitchen Confidential. Yeah. My husband read that and he told me all about it and he was like, oh my gosh, this is fascinating.
He's brilliant.
And I mean it's incredible. And I just thought that was so crazy, and I didn't know about all the struggles and how that environment can be super toxic. So I think it's really cool that what you're doing is bringing a light to that and bringing a place for people to come together and kind of break free of that structure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's hard to get a look into it because, a lot of times a kitchen in a restaurant is just a door with a little boat hole window in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes being fully immersed in it to understand it. And that's no one's fault. But I've always said it should be like a high school or college credential to work 6 months or a year in a service job, whether it be a kitchen or a hotel or just a restaurant in general. I think that's such a valuable asset for people to have.
Mm-hmm.
And it just really makes you a just multifaceted person.
I totally agree.
It's a crazy, and everything Bourdain describes, as I directly quote it, as the kitchen is described. And I'll shamelessly plug it right now to go watch The Bear on Hulu. if anyone hasn't and
Oh,
you're
I saw
hearing
you
this.
share that.
It is, and also The Chef on, it used to be on Netflix, but it's with John Favreau. But
Yes.
those are two of the most accurate depictions of kitchen life that I've ever watched. And
Hmm.
I was a lover of Shameless and Lip's
Mm-hmm.
character in general, and it's pretty much the same guy, and it's based in
That's awesome.
Chicago. So it's like it feels like a Shameless offset, but it is just so accurate. And I felt, here back to the synchronicity thing. Pretty much as soon as I decided to hit the gas on this, and I was just waiting on some friends to finish up helping with some logo work and get social media rolling. And of course, the Bear launched, and I binged it twice in about a week and a half, and it was just perfect timing because it only inspired me to jump right into this, and it was just perfect timing. So there's just a lot of arrows pointing in the right direction, and I'm definitely going to follow them.
Yeah.
Got big plans. Like I said, I eventually want to take it on the road, but right now I'm just
Mhm.
doing pop-up events at ghost kitchens or places that are closed certain days of the week or want to have a kitchen takeover, breweries, tap houses, pretty much anywhere that'll have me at this point.
Mhm.
Like I said, I want that to build into music events, and it'd be kind of like a to write Love on Her Arms kind of thing, but with food.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Like
amazing.
they're at all the concerts being loud and they got the merch and everything. So now,
Mhm.
when I go to events and festivals, I don't want it just to be a food tent or a truck. I want there to be a collective area with art. That's another thing too, is I want to help promote local artists. I'm going to ask lots of friends to do art for this merch line. And I still have to set up the details, but I pretty much want a percentage of all of their artwork to go back to them. At any sale that features their artwork, they're getting a cut, because I feel like people are
That
getting
is so
their art
cool.
stolen, whether it be in the music community or just in general. People are getting not credited for their
Mhm.
photography, just
That
their
happens
artwork.
so often.
Yeah, and it just sucks. And I have so many friends that are artists and incredible artists, and might not ever make a good dime off of it because they just don't have the exposure.
Mhm.
So there's so many future endeavors too. Like if this eventually snowballs into a brick and mortar, I want it to be like an actual social club. That's kind of where that part of the name came from, where there's like a music venue part of it. It's a divey but modern kitchen, bar, art gallery, self-sustaining kitchen, garden on the roof, compost, all that good stuff. It's
You have a
attainable.
whole vision. That's amazing.
And it's been a long time in the works. It actually kind of started at festivals. My brother's a DJ. If you like EDM music, go check out Tripio. uh, but yeah, he's a DJ, and we go to festivals a decent amount, and we would get RVs, and he'd bring speakers and sound and play in the RV sites after hours. And I'm like, hey, I should bring a grill and sell food, and I ended up making like $300 selling grilled cheeses outside of our RV one night, and did them all gourmet up. And I was like, wait a second, that was really fun, and I
Mhm.
made money, and it was easy. And so yeah, that was about 5 years ago, and it's just kind of every time I go to an event or experience something, I take something from it and kind of throw it at my idea, and just kind of it's been a bit of a stumble, but that's a snowball effect for sure. And like I'm really excited to see where it goes, and if I can get this off the ground and going, I think there's some big stuff in store. So I mean, we just did the first pop up on Sunday, and
Oh yeah, how did that go?
well, as expected, it was a roller coaster. I ran into some snags the morning of and had to adapt and overcome. And thankfully, my mom and sister were around for a helping hand and were able to get me out of the weeds a little bit. But it was a hectic start, but sold out. Great reviews. Obviously room for improvement, as there always is. There never won't be.
Mhm.
But I'd say it was a great success. I pretty much sold exactly what I was expecting and a little more, which means I'm still good at eyeballing, so that's good.
That's
Which is
amazing.
the name of my game. I'm terrible at recipes. I just something I need to get better at is write everything down, because I don't. But yeah, it was great. I'm excited. Hopefully, there's going to be a bunch more coming soon around the area. Like I said, I'm pretty much doing it wherever anyone will have me. There's McCarty Mills in Aurora and a couple other spots downtown are really cool about this stuff. And there's a little community of people that do this pop-up thing, and they're all supportive of each other. So there's a really cool community down here, and I'm glad to be here and launching this in this community, because I'm thinking it'll be receptive well, and hopefully get into Chicago and further from there. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. It sounds like you're kind of going with the flow and seeing where it takes you to, which is really cool.
Yeah, and that's whether it be lack of motivation or lack of inspiration, that's kind of always what I've done. Just kind of gone with the flow and just take it easy.
It's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and it, I'm very anxious and I have my moments, but in general, I try to just stay the course and make a plan. And if things change, you adapt and you overcome. But yeah, I think the end goal is I just want to bring people together and make people happy. And I think food is one of the most communal things our earth has, food and music. And
yeah,
those two together are two of the things that have kept me alive, let alone, not to say I'm not depressed and anxious or this or that, but it's kept me going and it's kept me inspired, and knowing that no matter what, moving forward is the only option. And now hopefully moving upward too. So yeah, I'm definitely excited, nervous, but in a good way. It's that feeling that I get before these events now, where it's a sense of calm, but it's like the eye of the storm, where it's like, I know shit's gonna get real, but we're gonna do it, and we're gonna be okay. And I've kind of found that's almost therapeutic for me now. Is in that moment of chaos, I almost find like an orchestral moment of fluidness and just, all right, we're doing the damn thing.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's an addiction of itself. It's a labor of love. It's hard, it's brutal, but it keeps me coming back. I know you play golf. I don't play very well, but I'd love to. And I've always kind of related it to golf. And no one ever really wins golf. Like
no.
A 65-year-old can beat a 25-year-old and for a championship. And I find that to be the craziest thing and the coolest thing about that sport. And I find the same thing you can never not learn something new. You can never not get better. You can never not put more tools in your bag. And so I always have that attitude, be humble and play the game, and know your shots, and you might get a couple birdies and end up close to par. So yeah,
I love that analogy.
Yeah, it's always just made sense in my brain, and I hope at least you or anyone else. But it's a crazy game out there, and like I said, all you can do is show up prepared and play.
Yeah, really, in anything in life.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty much a good, and that's why I said, it's good to have that experience at any point in your life, whether you stick with it or not, just to have that humbling mentality of, you might be the best in the room, but you're still going to get smacked in the face, and it's still going to be hard, and that's never going to go away. It's just how you deal with it. And
totally
also life,
yeah. Gotta learn how to react the right way.
Yes. So we're just out here doing life, I guess.
Totally. What is your favorite thing on your menu right now?
This is always a fun question for me, because I always am like, everything, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
I like to be ironic in doing that. But it's funny because, a lot of the things like this event, I didn't, aside from sips and little nibbles of the process of starting it, I didn't eat a single bite.
Really?
So, yeah, of the finished product. And that often happens when I do these one-off events, because it's like, you hope there's extra and there ends up not being extra. Sometimes there is, but just that's also cool too. It's like I didn't get to taste anything, and you go out to a room full of people just raving about it. So it's like, all right, that's cool. It's good to know that my instinct works. So yeah, like I said, I just hope to do like 3 to 5 of these a month. That's the goal for now. Wintertime will be a little tougher, but again, I'm not only just doing that. I want to offer private events. If you want to have people over at your house, small gathering, you want to do it catering style, or sit down and do a 5-course meal style. Like I'm kind of open to whatever at this point.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say, how can people support you and connect with you in what you're doing?
Yeah, well, right now I'm on Facebook and Instagram, both. I think if you just search Dead Chef Social Club,
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to find both. I'm also on TikTok, but I haven't got anything going on that. Like I said, once I kind of hopefully move out of the 9 to 5 typical work grind, I want to be creating a lot more content on there as far as just cooking whatever. As we talked about before, I've been making a lot of sourdough and doing that. So whether it be tutorials or different recipes, things like that, I'll get that going soon. So keep eyes peeled for that. So pretty much just keep your eyes on the Facebook and Instagram. Those are both linked, and anything, or if you know me personally, I'll be blasting all that stuff on my personal social media as well. So yeah, that'll be all over that. Merch line will be coming. So I'm sure we'll need either an Etsy shop or a web address. So all the things are in the works. Feel free to contact me personally as well if that's accessible. But I'm open for anything, collaborations, events, you name it. Let's do it. I'm in that kind of mindset. Yeah,
I love that you're open to it all.
Yeah, and why not be? It's when you don't have a total niche plan nailed down into the wall. Why not try it all? And then maybe there will be a niche in all of it, and you got your I just want to have my fingerprint or my hand in all the pots, or as many as possible, because it's silly not to immerse yourself, challenge yourself, situations that you don't know about, or because that's been some of the coolest experiences I've had, is trying something new for the first time and totally winging it and just coming up with something awesome. But I guess to circle back to your original question, is the brisket wontons are insane. That has to be, if it wasn't my favorite personally, it would have to be, because people will show up outside my apartment with stakes and pitchforks and fire if I were to take that away.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I'll have to try that.
It's out of this world, and it's so simple, and those are some of the best things in this life. I had it at a couple bourbon dinners at the last restaurant I had the menu for, and people literally almost created a petition to get it on the menu. I'm like, have you ever rolled wontons? That shit is hard. It takes a long time. Like, credit to all the Asian style restaurants that do that. It is hard work, not only to do them, but to keep them fresh. So I'm like, props to them. It's insane. So again, I want to learn it all, and I'd love to travel to these places and see it for real, and experience it in a ramen den in Japan, or just Korea, Thailand, wherever. I want to see it all. France, Ireland.
Yeah. Because your menu, I took a look at your menu from your event, and it is like a wide variety. You do have a lot of different inspiration in there.
I love fusion. Is, I love confusing people, kind of. When people are like, wait, what? You put what together? I'm like, trust me, you'll figure it out. So I like fusing ideas together. This last menu was kind of like centrally Asian themed, but with kind of like a Mexican fusion to it. And that's something to expect too. My menus for now are going to be ever changing. I'll be keeping fan favorites and rotating and doing mashups of Frankensteins of all the menus and centrally themed ones. So it'll always be a new experience. I've been so thankful for the support and the love that I've got from family and friends, and just people who have tried my food who don't know me. And that really is the fuel that keeps me running. And it just keeps me inspired to keep pushing the boundaries, keep bringing something new to the table, trying to elevate the bar. So yeah, just keep coming out, and I'll keep inventing and trying new stuff, and hopefully we'll go some cool places.
That's amazing.
I'm a pretty quiet person on the outside, but once you pop the can open, I could talk game for as long as people will listen and willing to interact. And I love to hear other people's ideas. I was going to say we could probably have an entire group podcast episode just on St. Peter's alone.
Oh my God, we really could. So funny you brought up Robbie. I think about him often actually because he used to burn me CDs
Yeah.
and write he would write like Britney Spears on them even though it was Eminem because I told him to.
Yes. Yes. That is some core memories right there. He's
For real.
we stay in touch. He's been a huge supporter of my endeavors. He's got a newborn. Well,
Oh,
not
that's
not
awesome.
not quite newborn, a little older than that,
Hmm.
but a new baby and a dog and a wife. So he's doing great. And that's something I've loved too, is seeing all the old faces pop up here and there, and everyone seems to be
Hmm.
doing good and doing their own thing. And
Yeah.
that's really cool to me because, as much as I hated that experience in a lot of ways,
Hmm.
um, it really, I have got so many core memories from every bit of that experience.
Totally. Totally.
So yeah, that's a cool thing to see. And
Yeah.
again, another cool part of being on this is it's cool to reconnect and
Hmm.
again just see cool people doing cool stuff and doing well.
Yeah.
And that's all I've ever wanted in this life is everyone
Hmm.
to do their thing and be
Yeah.
happy. So I'm
Yeah.
glad for it and I'm here for it.
Can I ask you one more question before we close out?
Absolutely.
Do you have any advice for someone who may be like stuck in a work experience that they're unhappy in and wanting to shift to doing something on their own?
Yeah, I mean, as much as my advice counts as someone who's just immersing myself in this process, you just got to jump.
Hmm.
You just got to, if you even have an inkling of confidence, like if you're thinking about doing it, you've already at least got a confidence that you could do it.
Hmm.
And it's hard and it's scary because there's not going to be really anyone. Well, that's not true either. But like at the base level, there's not going to be anyone there to tell you what to do or what's right or what's wrong.
Yeah.
Thankfully for the internet and things like this, there's a lot of cool people out there that are willing to help and guide and help people learn.
Hmm.
But as far as the base level, no one's going to get it started but you. And you got
Yeah.
to just get the ball rolling. And once you start, things will happen. And like I said, I don't think there's any true coincidences in this world. And this is a pure example. As soon as I got the ball rolling on this, you hit me up to do this. And, a couple other cool things have kind of just spiraled into action. So yeah, it's just jump, just go for it, believe in yourself. And if you fail, it's not really a failure.
Hmm.
It's not. It's progress. It's learning, and any attempt at doing something you love is in no way, shape, or form a failure. So if
Hmm.
it doesn't work out, get back to the drawing board and figure it out. And if you're that nervous about it, kind of wean yourself out. Take a few days off your work. It might be tough for a little bit, but take a few days off your workload and take it to yourself and decompress and center yourself and focus, because that was a hard
Hmm.
thing for me for a long time. As I feel so drained from work, I'm like, I don't want to do anything but lay on a couch or in a pool or on a somewhere comfortable and just let my brain melt into nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to motivate yourself. So and it's also not a bad thing to take some time and
Hmm.
figure yourself out. And I'm been a huge problem at that is, take a day. Mental health
Hmm.
days should be a thing.
Totally.
Forget sick days. Mental health days should be a thing. And if you
Yeah.
need a couple times to do that and get your head right, and then just take more time for yourself and do it. And
Yeah.
once you start, I feel like it's hard to stop. And if you've got a good idea, it's going to go somewhere. And if it stops, then like I said, go back to the drawing board and on to the next thing, or try it again. That's fresh off the press advice,
Yeah.
from someone figuring it out as we speak. So yeah, I guess just as Nike, just do it.
Yeah. I love that.
or I guess we'll do it Shia LaBeouf style. Just do it.
That's good. I mean, that's great advice though, especially because in our society, I feel like it is just go, go, go.
Yeah,
And you really don't ever think to take time to yourself and just relax and not do anything because it's kind of frowned upon in our society. But it is so important to just like
yeah,
let your mind decompress.
and it's hard to think against the mold, but
Hmm.
we are trained to do the opposite. And
Yeah.
so it's like if you're feeling too comfortable, do something else.
Mhm.
change it up. And that's just me. Like I never felt comfortable with the idea of just being someone who wakes up and does your daily thing and goes to bed and kisses your wife. And I wanted to do all those things, but with so much purpose and so much more
Mhm.
behind it. And I've always just refused to be that person who never leaves their hometown. And just, not that there's anything wrong with that
Mhm.
at all. It's just my brain refuses to be that way. And blazing your own trail is hard. It
Mhm.
always will be, because you find yourself alone in a lot of situations. But trust your friends, trust your instincts, reach out to people who can help you, get help, and good things will happen. I firmly believe that. And get help is the main thing. If you're struggling, ask for help, do the right things, feed your mind,
Mhm.
feed your brain, feed your soul.
I love that.
It's really important. And, I get simple as waking up and doing 50 push-ups and sit-ups. It just kind of, and then taking a cold shower. It kind of
Mhm.
just, it gets your brain going, it gets the serotonin flowing. And so just
Yeah,
find a routine and be about it.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. Like I said, that's fresh off the press. So we'll see if it pans out.
Oh, it will. I have a lot of faith in you.
I appreciate that. And I'm thankful for that and all the people that do, because I wouldn't be where I am without it. Firm believer in that too. Is community, and every part plays its part. And I wouldn't be who I am and where I am without it. So
Mhm. Well, I cannot wait to see where your next event is. And everyone needs to go follow Chef Mitch now. And Mitch, thanks so much for coming on.
thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure getting these ideas out and talking about it, and as well as it kind of seeing it come to fruition finally and get started. So yeah, just keep your eyes peeled. I've got a lot planned, and I hope to do it early and often, and
Mhm.
as much as possible. So if you've got a spot where you're at in your neighborhood that you think would be cool, I don't care if it's out of state, out of this area. I'm definitely willing to travel for the right situation and
Mhm.
the right kind of vibe. So feel free to reach out if you want me in your spot. I'm definitely willing to do that too. So open for suggestions. So definitely come follow, like, interact. I want to meet y'all, feed y'all. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Mitch.
No, thank you, Courtney. I really appreciate it.